He is our special. And Bob, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? I'm sure most people know who you are, but there's going to be a few people that may or may not know who you are.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for taking your time to be on this session today. It's my goal that you walk away with some ideas to improve your business, to get some clarity. I want you to know that I'm just like you. There's a lot of people that are wonderful people throughout the world at KW, but they're not in the trenches every day like you are, and I am with you every day. I we manage our team, but I'm in the trenches every day, and do open houses and go after luxury expireds. So I can really feel your pain and know what we're going through each and every day. I started my real estate career when I was 18 years old. I'm 64 years old. Don't tell anybody that. I don't feel it. I still think I'm 35. And I've been doing this about 46 years, learned a lot, and honored to be in partners with Keller Williams. We've got expansion teams across the country and in Canada. And I've always admired Brandy. Even before I met her, we would see her branding on her signs. We used to own a house at Lakewood Ranch, and we would go to the Colony to play tennis at Longboat Key. And I would see your branding, Brandy, and thought it was very good. So if I was a customer there buying houses back then, you certainly caught my attention with the way that you marketed your houses. So very impressive. But here for you to answer questions and to guide you. So I'm going to start off, and my presentation style is a little different. I don't like to just preach. I like engagement. So we'll start off listings. I guess the title, Pat, you can put up the slide there. Listings are key in a shifting market. I want to share this with you. I don't think they're key in a shifting market. I think they're key in any market. If you want to survive, you need to list. And to be a top listing agent, and right now, I want you all to embrace this shift in the market, the change. I've sold when rates were 21%. I sold when the dot-com crisis, when everything was crashing because of the dot-coms. The worst downturn was 2008. Embrace this change. There's more millionaires that are made through challenging markets than successful markets. We're finding niches that we're going after right now that weren't available before. So embrace this and get very proactive in your activities. Who we are, we're Lucido Global, and we are growing rapidly. We're actually in a planning session right now, some of my partners, and I took a break from that to make sure I came here and met with you all. And there's a couple of things I want to talk about. First off, getting listings. First off, before you can get listings, you have to have the right mindset. Are you prepared? Have you practiced your scripts? Do you know the market? So one, this is a business where you can become a multimillionaire at a very young age. You can make a very significant income. My son is an attorney, and I can tell you how much they study and what they do, and it's amazing. And we have a friend, his wife is a dermatologist, and the studying that she is amazing. We take a real estate course and get our license, and we could make double or triple or quadruple what any attorney or doctor would make. So why are we entitled to make that kind of income? Because your practice has to be your preparation. You don't have to go to school and get a master's degree. You need to go to learning school and prepare yourself, practicing scripts, knowing the market, having the right mindset. Number two, are you doing your lead generation? I know you've heard that over and over again. Got to do lead gen. You must schedule it and you must do it. In a good market, during the last 2 years, which by the way, I don't think we'll ever see again in my lifetime, the Trump tax cuts, the low inventory, and ridiculous 2.5% interest rates. We're not going to see that again. So during that market, you could skip lead gen and get away with it. Today, you'll be out of business. Today, you'll be out of business if you skip lead gen. So
Bob, do you mind? You touched on something before you go any further. I love that we're talking about the lead gen and all that, but you said something that was really powerful prior to that. Being a student of the market, and I had the same conversation with my team. We do a daily stand up, and then we also do a words that work. We call it words that work versus scripts, because I feel like more people might jump on there. So
Okay.
one thing that really I think people need to understand is in luxury, once you get in front of that luxury prospective seller, because we're going to focus on listings today,
Okay.
being highly skilled right now is more important than ever. But just like you said, it should be that way anyway. A luxury seller wants to have a high level conversation, and they don't want to wait for you to go look up a statistic or do that right in front of them. And I think we get kind of caught up in, okay, you have to have great marketing, but a lot of times when I was in heavy production, I didn't even open up my consultation or my marketing. They called me there based on that, right? They saw that brand harmony, if you want to call it that. But then once you're in front of them, I mean, I had a client one time put me in a living room away from my marketing package and a $10 million Casey Key listing and just start asking me questions. And if I didn't know it off the top of my head, because I wasn't a student, like you said, of the market or what's going on with the economy, I would have never been able to obtain that listing.
Great point. You want to write this down. This is a key point. Number one, first key point. You need to know your market inside out. You could be a rookie and have never sold a home and engage luxury clientele. And where do you engage them? Not just on the listing, but you engage them at the country club, on the beach, golf course, wherever you're networking. We'll get into that in a minute. How do you meet luxury sellers? You need to know the market. I will share with you a real brief story. Someone was on our team who was 21 years old, did not own a house, and had only sold a couple houses, never sold a $1 million home in their life. And what they did is they contacted Eric Woodall from the Chargers, joined the Ravens. He spent all day trying to find the agent of that ball player. He found the agent, told the agent, look, nobody knows Owings Mills and Baltimore better than me. I grew up here. This is what I do. Party here. I know the schools. Convince that agent to be the buyer agent for Eric Woodall based on his knowledge of the marketplace, not on what he sold, because he never sold a luxury home in his life. He got that one, and guess what? He sold 8 more Ravens houses after that.
Yeah.
All by knowing the market. Of course, he prospected and got in front of the person, was able to talk to his agent, but because he knew the market.
I love it.
So one, mindset. 2, your preparation. You need to get the listing. If you want to start talking to luxury sellers and luxury buyers, you've got to put yourself in the environment of where you're going to meet these people. I'll give you a couple tips right now on how you can meet these luxury clientele. Number 1, go to where they are. Could be a dog park, could be contacting a financial planner who manages money for sport, for athletes. You can go to the Chamber of Commerce, go to where people have money. Now, I joined, they asked me to be on the hospice as well as the American Heart Association boards, and I was the vice president. I met several very wealthy people there and sold their luxury homes. I never joined the board thinking I was going to do that, but it was a byproduct of being on that board and being around those people. So you got to put yourself in an environment to succeed and to be able to prospect those people, buyers and sellers. I'll go through some slides, but I want you to interrupt me anytime, Brandy, because I want to make sure I hit home on the points that you want discussed.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, when you do have your listing, the number 1 reason houses don't sell in America, by the way, is price. If you want to, I just sold a luxury home this weekend, 2.1 million, 5 offers, and we're going to sell. We settle in 30 days. We're going to get an 8-month rent back. Price it right, and we had massive numbers of people at the open house, and now I've got other people who are going to be selling the house. By the way, open houses, some other people from the neighborhood came, and I'm going to be listing some other houses in the neighborhood. So number 1, you want to price it right. 2, be the best home on the block. 3, hire a team that will market aggressively. And 4, hire a skilled negotiator. We have marketing materials about all of this. So when we go on a listing presentation, all of this is spelled out for the customer. Now I want to share something with you. I want to share with you a secret. And it's actually this slide right here. I am a firm believer in the auction process. Auctions were dead in the last 2 years because you put a house on the market and it sold. Now the luxury listings aren't selling, which by the way is a huge opportunity. Having the right auction company work together with you. Auctions are not a desperate situation. I sold Cal Ripken's house with an auction. We were involved in Tom Clancy, the late author, and who wrote all those books. We sold his condo in Baltimore, all through an auction. Why does an auction work so well? Because it creates urgency. So what I did for my normal listing, now auctions, we only do them for our luxury, anywhere from 2 to 20 million. That's the only thing we do is for luxury. The only time we do auctions is for luxury. Now we don't do auctions all the time. Some clients don't want to do an auction. It creates incredible urgency. It's all about urgency. We're on the market. Cal Ripken's house. We had 3 weekends of open houses, and then we did the auction. It was sold. So 30 days, house was sold. We created this program at the Lucido Global called the Lucido Listing Blitz, and we've had people try to copy it, so we trademarked it. And it's essentially creating an urgency plan for our sellers to be able to sell their houses. We sell most of our houses in 5 days. What's a listing blitz? Well, number one, it's a lot of pre-marketing. It's making your house the best house on the block with our staging team, the photography, videos. 2, active listings. It goes on the market. Then we continue to do aggressive marketing. We do an open house. We actually do a broker's event as well, and negotiations. 5 days, houses are sold. Many times we're still getting over list price because we create this amazing urgency. So tip number 2 for everybody is auctions do work very well with luxury. So you should consider that in your arsenal of sales. If you're interested, contact me at bob@boblucidoteam.com. I'll give you the information for the auction company. You should interview them. Originally, Cal Ripken, they said, no, we don't want to do it. They ended up doing it after they realized they hired another agent before me. It's a long story. They were going through a divorce, and Mrs. Ripken, Kelly Ripken, hired a different agent for a year, didn't sell. So then they hired me, and I sold it in 30 days. We did the auction. So if you're interested, let me know. But the creating urgency is incredibly important. Any questions?
Any questions? I'll put the email address in the chat for Bob's email. I just have one question. I think someone else might be coming off mute. What I like about the auction process is they also help you with the marketing on a national level. And should you need to go international, there's some added layers of marketing there too.
Yes, it is huge. And our luxury company that we work together with is global. And we've had a couple different ones, and the one we use is extraordinary. Email me, bob@boblucidoteam.com, and I'll be more than happy to give you any information. Any other questions before we go to the next slide?
Hi, Bob. It's Megan with Brandy's team.
Hey.
Thanks so much for being with us today. Quick question for you. I was looking and it says, you list the property on a Thursday, you're aggressively marketing it. Are you blocking showings until your open house so that their first view of the property is with your experts that know it inside and out?
Great question. No, they can have regular realtor showings Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The open house is normally Sunday. Mm-hmm. On the luxury listings, I just did a broker. Let me just tell you the one I just did. We did 3 weeks of coming soon. So that created urgency. People wanted to see it before. Nope, we're not going to let you do that. Fear of loss is the greatest motivator. Do not let anybody see it before. Wednesday night, we went live Thursday. Wednesday night, we did a broker reception. Sometimes we do Capital Grille. Sometimes we actually brought in Bentley, Mercedes, Rolls Royce. We did a luxury car show at some events. We bring all this out for the agents, let them take a look. Thursday goes live. That's when we start having showings. Friday we go live. We're active. People submit offers. They go, we want you to decide now. Nope, unless it's an extraordinary offer, we wait till Sunday at 6 p.m. Showings are Saturday, Sunday is the open house. I actually did it Sunday, 11 to 1, had 25 families. And we had 5 offers, and the winning buyer was there with his entire family. They owned 17 Dunkin' Donuts. The whole family, they were there. And the crowdedness at the open house created this incredible urgency, fear of loss. And they gave us the terms we wanted. So that's the 5-day, it's called the Lucido Listing Blitz. We trademarked it, and we sold most of our houses in 5 days. Okay. Any other questions before we go on?
Are you pre-qualifying the people before they come?
To the open house or with the agents?
The auction.
Oh, okay, that's another step. I did not do an auction this weekend. Sellers have to elect to go in the auction process. We did not. The listing blitz is our version of an auction. It's just our normal listing process, but it's called the Lucido Listing Blitz. When we do an auction, which is totally separate, when we did Cal Ripken's auction, we had 2,500 people go through in 3 weeks. At the auction, there were 8 bidders. They had to put up $50,000 non-refundable deposits and show proof of funds. And there, it's a 30-day cash. When the hammer goes down, that buyer's going to go to closing. It's a $50,000 or $100,000 deposit. I forget which one we asked for there. And there's a 30-day settlement, and you sell it as is, whereas with no contingencies. And most luxury listings in normal markets, except for the last 2 years, there's a 50% chance you're getting fired and you won't get paid. There's an old saying, and I repeat it many times. It's best to be the first child, the second spouse, and the third realtor. There is a great, my wife doesn't like it when I say that. There's some truth to it, that the second or third realtor is a huge opportunity for everybody on this call. If you want a secret of today, here's third tip. Get busy with expireds. And I wouldn't call them if I were you. Go knock on their door and meet them. They have failed. They're a little more humble than they are right now. And they're ready to be.
You always say, Bob, you say and I don't know if I'll say it the right way, but I have used this with my team because they like to hide behind the phone or the computer and find people on social media, which is great. You know, layered effects are wonderful, but I believe you say when you door knock or you're going to that expired listing, it's a little bit more difficult to physically remove me from the front door.
Okay, let me share this with everybody. Everybody knows when I give a presentation, I always went to a seminar when I was 18 years old. It made a profound impact on me. I went to a Tom Hopkins seminar. There's 2,000 people in the audience, and I spent $39. The end of this show, 8 hours long, was 9 to 5 all day. Somebody came and said, "Tom, you just wasted our time. This could have lasted 10 minutes. Everybody was silent, just like you are right now. Nobody moved. Like, "Tom, you wasted our time. I'd have paid you the same amount of money if you just stressed one thing." And what they did is he drew this on a board, and 2,000 people were like, "I don't understand." He said, "Tom, that is the key to success." I'm not sure if you can see it very well. He says, "That's the key to become a multimillionaire." My entire career, look, my kids all have fancy degrees, lawyers, I don't have a fancy degree. I went to college. I have a street degree. Okay, I've worked through and I'm field testing everything every day. I will tell you this. I became a millionaire at the age of 30 by doing this. I'd go belly to belly, face to their belly buttons. The key to success, the easiest thing to get rid of is a letter. You can mail them a letter and they'll throw it away. You can call them and they can hang up on you or you get their recording. The hardest thing to get rid of is a body. When you're at their front door and you knock, and Brandy, you and your husband just failed on your listing. It sat for 6 months and it just sat. You're kind of embarrassed. And I show up, or Michael Skinner here, or Ron or Amber here, or Ryan, knock at the door. It's very easy. And that's why you need to practice your presentation. "Hey, Brandy, I was in the area and I noticed that your beautiful home just came back on the market. I'm sorry that you and your husband did not have a successful event. tell me why you think your house didn't sell.
Gosh, Bob, I don't know. I didn't even know that it came off the market. I haven't heard from my realtor. I was told we had an offer coming in, but then nothing even was sent, no phone call. Matter of fact, I found out from a bunch of calls this morning. You're the only one that's shown up to the door, but I've had 1,000 calls from other people letting me know that the property is no longer on the, I guess it's called the MLS, something like that.
Yes. And by the way, you're an excellent role player. Yes, Brandy, your house came off the market. I'm sorry that your realtor didn't communicate that effectively with you, but essentially your listing's off the market. That's why I'm here. I've got buyers for this home. I know I can sell your house, or I'll buy it for cash. Now be careful. You put in your own unique selling proposition. Mine, for a lot of mine, not 2 or 3 or 4 million, but maybe under $1 million. I will say, Brandy, I will sell your house in 30 days unless I'll buy it for cash. Could I have a conversation with you? You could say something. You got to figure out what is your presentation. Now, when your house is $5 million, Brandy, I've got buyers for this, and I know I can have this sold in 30 days. I'd love to discuss a marketing plan with you and your husband for 15 minutes. I'll make a difference. I'll get this house sold, or I'll waive my commission, or I'll give you $20,000. I'll give you something. As an incentive for you to listen to me, that I'm putting my money where my mouth is. All I want is 15 minutes to come in and talk to you and your husband about how we can make this a successful situation. I got a better chance of meeting her, especially if we have a connection, and her husband comes and, hey, he's watching sports. Hey, that's a baseball game. I'm a baseball fan. So you have dialogue. But all the
you have a MOFR, so we call that a MOFR, right? Make offer for immediate response. They're immediately going to have a response to that. So it's great. You can put that on a postcard, or you can put a billboard up, but people can drive by that. They can disregard the postcard. I'm not saying don't do those things, but it makes it way more difficult when you're belly to belly, face to face, making eye contact to build that trust and to be able to verbally have a conversation.
Absolutely. Now, be careful in luxury. I have a guaranteed sales program. I will not guarantee a house that's $2 million. Maybe I would, but normally we don't. Normally it's up to about $1 million. So you're going to be, what is your MOFR? What is your value proposition that you're going to tell them that if you don't sell it, I'll do this. So practicing, that's why I said in the beginning, you have to have the right mindset. You got to practice your presentation so that you're ready. So, going belly to belly has been my key to my success, and has been the way that I've learned the most. Let's keep going. Next slide. This is actually the front of Cal Ripken's house that we did the auction there. Many houses I don't do auctions on the luxury. Some houses that we do. We present that as an opportunity. And now I tell you this, Tom Clancy, he died. Unfortunately, he was a famous author.
Yeah.
He bought 3 condos in Baltimore at the Ritz-Carlton, $12 million. They were on the market for 2 years, and they dropped the price. And the agent called me and my wife and said, I know you guys do auctions. Can you help me out? I said, sure. So we brought our auction team down, and now they were happy. You're not going to believe this. They would have been happy at selling it for 1.5 million. We sold it at auction for 2.5. They were ecstatic, but it sold. Now, had they gotten us beforehand, because when the house sits on the market for 2 years, you know this, it's stale, nobody wants it. But had it come out of the block, I think they had gotten double what they would have gotten, because it would have been fresh. It would have been Tom Clancy's. It'd be in a sense of urgency to it. With stuff, DOM is your worst nightmare, days on market. Next. There's normally 5 things that determine the value of a home. Luxury, by the way, is probably different, but normally it's location, square footage, updates, rec room. You in Florida don't have rec rooms, so it's hard space, patios, and school district. It still matters with luxury. To win and keep a listing, these are the things that you need to know, everybody. This is critically important. You're going to want to write this down in this slide. When you're having a conversation with a seller, now, if you're a rookie and never sold a house, you can do this. You need to know your facts. this is how many days your house has been on the market. If you're talking to somebody that expired, or let them know the competition, how many days they've been on the market, how many price reductions the competition has had, showings on your particular listing, closings in the past 30 days. Don't go back 6 months, guys. It's ancient history, doesn't matter. This is the new market, new interest rates. Learn how to effectively set proper expectations. There was a great seminar. I was speaking in Florida. One of the other speakers, I'll give him credit for this, although we all know this, but he reinforced it in his presentation, was that we shouldn't be setting prices. We should be setting expectations. And the expectation today is here. Now, one of the ways that you can price a luxury home is through, I used to own a market research company. You can price it through, the most reliable is houses that sold in the last 30 days. But if you don't have it in the last 30 days or the last couple months, that's called the market analysis approach, the CMA, comparable market approach. The other approach is a focus group. What is a focus group? When I sold, I knew what Cal's house was going to sell for. I had 2,500 people go through. He thought it was going to sell between 5 and 8 million. I said, Cal, it's selling between 3.5 and 5. He said, no way. He had 12 million in it. This is all public, so I can say this. I listened to the marketplace. I did my focus group. I said, no, Cal, I'm listening to the market, and this is what people were saying. The house sold for $3.5 million. So the third way you can determine the value, if somebody is insisting on pricing it high, and don't lose a listing because they want to price it high, just say, you know something, we'll price it where you want, but let's evaluate it in 30 days, is you can hire 2 or 3 appraisers. I tell sellers, Brandy, why don't we do this? You want 5 million. I think it might be, I love your house. I think it's worth 6, but the market might only tell you it's worth 3 or 4. Why don't we get 3 appraisers? It'll probably cost $500 a piece. You pay for them, I'll reduce it from my commission. Don't pay for them up front, because if they fire you, you're out the money. Reduce it off your commission. Get the appraisers to give value so that you have some target. Next. My biggest luxury mistakes. One, pricing. Number 2, under communicate. With every luxury home, you need to be calling the seller after every showing. You or your assistant to give them, communication is key. I think there was a stat out recently, one of the number 1 reason people fired their real estate agent was lack of communication. Number 3, I didn't use the appraisal technique soon enough, because people, they got big egos. I want to price it at 5 million. This is worth 5 million. The market's telling us it's worth 3 or 3.5. And you'll get fired based on their pricing. So maybe have a third party validate it. Plus, doing the broker event, my broker event validated the house I just sold this morning. It was listed for 2.1 million. They all said, this is a great price, this is a great price. Nobody said it was overpriced. Get everything signed up front. You love everybody, but do not do anything verbally. And if you're working with buyers, we worked with Kevin Spacey before all the issues happened with Kevin Spacey publicly. And we got everything signed through his, I worked with a ghost buyer. I never met him personally. I worked with his team. Next. What questions do you have? Because I can go through 15 ways to generate listings if you like, Brandy, but I want to make sure I'm being respectful of everybody's time and answer questions people have.
I think Pat's been really good about answering some questions in the chat. We had a few questions about the slides, the different 5 things that determine price, but those have been answered. Does anyone have any other questions?
Yes, I have a question, Bob. Usually what luxury homes located in the city? Is it in the suburban areas or the central cities?
I'm sorry, I think we just froze. Now we're unfrozen. Was that the first question? I'm sorry.
It was, I believe the question was, the luxury listings, are they in the city or the suburbs that you're handling?
Both. And by the way, I don't think it makes any difference. People are people. Luxury is luxury. And by the way, luxury is not a price point. Luxury is an experience. Mm-hmm. Remember that luxury is an experience, and we all should be upping our game on our experience that we have with all of our customers, but definitely with the high-end buyer and seller, the experience is what they're looking for. Everybody here, if you haven't, I'm sure you already have, spend the night or weekend at a Ritz-Carlton. Go to Nordstrom's. Go test drive a Lexus and see the service and the level of treatment that you get. We stay at Four Seasons when we go down to Palm Beach. The level of service is I'm more than happy to pay $1,800 a night for a room because it's an experience. I'm not getting a bed, I'm getting an experience. And what you want to deliver to your clients is an experience. But to answer your question, Young Hung's Gu is, they're both. It's urban and it's rural.
Thank you.
Sure.
I want to just touch on what you said though, as well with your team. Should you have a team or looking to hire and grow people, whether they're already experienced or getting into luxury, I think it's important to take them to the Ritz-Carlton as well, whether it's, the spa or the beach club we belong to here for lunch, something, if they've never really experienced that at a high level, they might not be in the position to do it until they've really gotten their feet wet in the luxury realm. And I think for everyone on the team to understand how to create that experience is important so that you're setting the expectation for them. And then of course, there's that consistency with your brand.
100%, Brandy. Everybody on this call, you are a brand. I'm a brand, and the way you dress, the way your car, I get my car waxed and cleaned every week because when I go out on presentation, I park in front and it's a presentation. It makes a statement who you are. So everything you do, everything you say, every email you send, every piece of communication is about promoting the brand. Now, by the way, some new people, or let's say some people on the call have said, I have not sold any luxury homes. It's okay. Here's what you do. I'm talking to Brandy, you're the seller. Brandy, Ron's on my team, Ron Verzero here. Ron goes, something, Brandy, he goes through his presentation. He says, I'm on the Bob Lucido team and we sell a lot of luxury in the area. Use your office, use your team, use your company to validate you. You don't have to say, I've never done this before. You'll never get hired, by the way, if you do that. You can just include your company or the team as part of your success. My team members do it all the time. They'll go on a listing and say, Bob, I got that because I said we partner with you. We just get one of your team members went on expired, never sold a house more than $1 million in Arizona. And it was an expired listing and it was a ball player. So I had conversations with the ball player, helped him secure this $8 million listing. We sold it for 6.8.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, use your market center or your brokerage. I know for one of my brokerages, I just ran some numbers and we sell more luxury listings in the entire area than any other brokerage. So if you're not sure what your language of real estate is, where you're at, get with leadership. They can put this together for you. I love doing that. If I'm your broker and OP, I'd be happy to do it. Anyone in the North Florida region, I'd love to meet with your OP and help you put that together. I know a lot of our brokers and operating principals got together a few days ago with Georgia and Ashley. They brought Mark King in. And one thing we were talking about on the second day was creating your local economist of choice graphs. What's going on in your area? What does your annual appreciation look like for your area? It's great to look at it on a national level, but what does that look like going back to, 2004 or whatever year you want to use and build that graph out so that you can become a student and understand how to convey what that message means and what that story tells. And then again, with the experience of other people, you're a team, your brokerage is your team, all of the KW, or if you're with a specific brand, maybe you combine all those numbers together for your area. And maybe it's more than one brokerage.
That is right on. I always tell my people, you need to be the mayor of your community. You need to be the celebrity of your community. And you need to be the economist, like Brandy said, you need to know exactly what's going on. In the school districts, you need to know the stats. And even if you're not experienced in the business, everybody here could know all the stats in the next 24 hours. I'm working together with somebody who's a very high luxury player in the world, and came to Miami because his client who was looking in New York City said, "I want to go to Miami." Person didn't know anything really about Miami, spending 2 days immersed in an area that they were looking in, and happened to sell them $100 million home. So how do they do that? By simply immersing in the area, being knowledgeable, and then demonstrating and showing them the property. Now, the key is, how do you get that prospect? It was actually a rental prospect in New York City, a rental lead. So don't ever prejudge anyone.
I think Jackery has his hand raised. Jackery, would you like to come off mute? I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Jackery Lewis.
It's Jacory, but I appreciate you trying.
Sorry.
Quite all right. So my question is basically about the long-term effects of disasters in the luxury market. Of course, we have forest fires that happened in California. We had a hurricane that recently came through here in Florida. So how does that, in your experience from what you've seen, affect the luxury markets in the long term?
By the way, I should have started off. I was just down in Florida in your marketplace. My daughter just bought a house in Sarasota, and I saw firsthand what was going on in your community. So first off, hope everybody's doing well, and I hope that your community and your house did not get damaged, and that you're doing well. I know that some other areas down in Fort Myers got hit a little worse, didn't it, Brandy?
Yeah, I mean, Sarasota, fortunately, was a lot of high wind and rain. So there was some damage, but really from like Northport got flooding and of course recovered, but anything south of Northport was where more devastation did occur. And so honestly, while you're asking, we have people contacting us that originally looked in Naples or were looking in Naples, and we actually cover on my team down in Naples. That was our first expansion partner. And so now that expansion partner is actually helping us relocate some of the people that were looking in Naples in Sarasota, be it rentals or for sales. So we're actually going to probably have a busier season than ever. But we also need to be mindful to kind of support and help those people down south.
Sure. My son lives in Miami, my daughter now in Sarasota, but I know those areas were not hit as much as down the Naples area. So glad you all are safe and doing better than some of the other locations. To answer your question, I'll be in 46 years. I don't have the experience to answer that question to the level. Whenever I say anything, I like it to come from fact and to be fully knowledgeable. I've not really sold in a market where it was pre a disaster and then there's a disaster now. So I'm not. That's a great question. I'm going to give it some thought, but I'll respond to you. If you would email me, I'll respond back to you what my thoughts on it. But I don't have any direct experience in that. Pat's next to me, my videographer.
It doesn't compare.
Of course, I'll send you a follow-up email.
I'm sorry. We did have a flood here in Ellicott City 4 years ago. It made national news. The town flooded out. And I will tell you that it's devastating, but everybody pulled together, brought everybody together, working together to help. So from a community standpoint, it was actually a positive because it brought people together. From a real estate perspective, I would say that, Pat, what do you think?
Well, I wanted to chime in, and this is an answer in one of the chats. I was going to talk about care calls, but also I think when it comes down to that, then it's not about real estate, right?
Yeah.
Then it's about you being there for your community. And the thing is, everybody is going to know you guys are in real estate. If you make the connection, they'll know, but they'll really see you just your love of the community. And care calls for you guys is just when we call people and we don't talk real estate at all, we're just talking about them, catching up, and don't have real estate as a subject. You're just trying to network.
You all know this, sorry. Good point, Pat. We did the same. We made tons of care calls. We contributed. We were involved, and we felt good. I grew up there. It's near and dear to my heart. And you all, your town, you're doing the same thing. Directly, your question, I think, is real estate 2 months ago versus today, a luxury home. What impact does a storm have on it? And I'm not really prepared to answer that. It's a great question.
I'm happy to touch on it because we had an oil spill here. I don't know if you remember that. And it was quiet for a while. A lot of realtors, filed for the BP claim. Darn it, I didn't do it. I just kept my head down. And like you said, Bob, made a lot of care calls. And there were people that moved out of the area, but that's also an opportunity. So do you have those relationships with top people like Bob Lucido, right? And the areas he serves, or where his expansion partners are, or other people wherever they want to go, whether it's Texas, Arizona, some of the other places people look to retire. That's an opportunity to help them relocate. And you know what, maybe a buyer gets a discount on the property that you're selling because they are just wanting to get out of the situation they're in. It might be an emotional reaction. They might regret it later. So of course you want to have that really deep consultation, but people are always going to buy and sell homes. I mean, even during an oil spill where we could not even use the beach or swim in the water all the way up and down the West Coast, I was still selling real estate, believe it or not.
Yep, absolutely. And the care calls, you're going to be tempted to do this. 100% don't ever mention buying or selling a home. You want to come from genuine care and concern. They may say, I need some contracts. Hey, I'm here to help you. Here's a list of people. I'll have them contact you. Then you can follow up with them. How did that situation go with the plumber and the drywall guy that I referred to? So coming from genuine compassion, I think will get you in conversation. It actually is a huge opportunity for you all to come from the compassion and so that you can engage in conversations with these higher end clientele. Again, I got some more slides if you want. I can go through questions, whatever you'd like to do.
Yeah, I have us until 1. So if you want to keep rolling, and then I'll keep an eye on the questions.
Okay, let's go.
I have a question, Bob. Can you explain more about the auction?
Tell you what, why don't you email me and I'll give you the all the contact information. And if you have any questions, I will share that with you. The auction, if you're listing a high-end home, in my opinion, now by the way, you all get paid. You get paid. You're not going to lose any money bringing an auction company. It's a detailed process. It'll take me more than 10 minutes. I don't want to go through that too much in detail, other than it is a game changer and a huge opportunity. And in another lifetime, I may come back as a promoter of auctions worldwide because I believe in it so much. It creates urgency. Dan Marino, the quarterback for the Dolphins, the ex-quarterback, former, he sold his house through auction. We sold Mark Teixeira, baseball player, Texas, and auction. So huge opportunity. Email me, be glad to help you. 15 ways to generate listings. Real quick, we'll go through them quickly. If you're not hosting open houses, you're leaving money on the table. You better do them every week. And there's a whole process that we have. If you want, we're happy to share ideas with you. You can email me, but we have a whole process of how we do open houses, not just to sell the house, but to generate leads. I got several listing appointments out of hosting this $2.1 million house. Next. This is very basic, guys. And by the way, you're not going to hear anything really fancy from me, but I am a master of the basics. Everybody's talking about new lead gen tools and what are you going to do? And all this is great. But unless you believe in it, unless you're doing the basics day in and day out, you're not going to win at a very high level. I do the basics every day in and out. Next.
Bob, I got to say one thing with this slide, guys. Bob gives business cards to kids, and that is a game changer. Give your business cards to kids in the community. They love it. And ask them about buying a house in 20 years, Bob.
I think I just bought $5,000 worth of Girl Scout cookies and Boy Scout. We take pictures with them. I give them the cookies at the open house. Become a local celebrity in your neighborhood. Send just listed and just sold postcards for every listing. And we brought the buyer cards. Next. Every night on the way home, stop by and meet 1 to 4 expireds. By the way, here's the secret. The aged expireds are lost souls. Nobody's contacting them. So if you want to go back a year or 2 years to us expired, talk to them now about selling their house because they failed before. Next. Circle prospect, a recent success story. Next. Okay. My ex-partner was a school teacher. He became a very wealthy, one of the wealthiest men in town by doing this: reviewing tax records for unimproved lots and absentee owners, then contacting them. He contacted the largest landowners in the county, developed their land for 40 years, and built shopping centers, apartments. This is huge. I was driving through Sarasota, and where my daughter has a house, and see a lot of tear downs, see some vacant lots. If I was in your marketplace, which by the way, if Maryland taxes get raised anymore, I'm going to be a resident down there, and I may be competing with you guys. I love your state. I love your marketplace. Vacant lots is huge. Or you could contact owners who have rental properties. They have a different mailing address than the subject property. Next. This is huge. Join a local community. I'm heavily involved in our community, and it's fun. I enjoy doing it. Own your farm, touch them every month. I got to tell you, there's a lady in Florida. She was at the Florida Mastermind that we went to and we spoke to. She owns her farm and been doing it for 12 years. So many people say they have a farm and they do it for a month and they don't do it. That's not farming. This is a farm when you do it on a regular basis. Host seminars, provide value. You know, the number one buyer right now is first-time buyers. There's more first-time buyers. They're coming out of the woodwork. Host first-time buyer seminars. Host how to, I have a program, how I paid for my daughter's $200,000 Bucknell education with one rental property. I teach people how to be investors and be millionaires. You could do the same. We also do seminars on staging your home for luxury success. Signage everywhere. Next. Intentional giving. Gary is big on this. We give to local churches, soccer programs, but if people from those organizations buy or sell with us, we donate more money back to the community. We're heavily involved in the community. You all should too. And it doesn't cost you anything. For example, you could be involved in a charity, and people ask me, Bob, we want you. I just had it happen. Somebody said, we want you to be involved in this musical program they have in Columbia, Maryland. I said, tell you what I'll do. You tell everybody if they buy or sell a house, I'll donate $2,500. The next week, I got a listing. We sold it. I gave them $2,500.
I love it.
Didn't cost me a dime, by the way. Ask your strategic partners, your vendors, and your board. Everybody on this call, you got to write this down. Probably one of the most important things. In your life, you need a board of directors. My board of directors is my doctor, my lawyer, my CPA, stockbroker. My vendors they're my partners. And I tell these guys, all of them, especially the vendors, I say, I'm going to make you all multi-millionaires. They go, great. I said, I don't want any money from you. Great. I said, your job is to make me look good by making my clients happy. If they're not ecstatic, Ritz-Carlton happy, you're getting fired. And your job is to send me referrals on a regular basis. If not, there's other people that want your position. So I do that with my vendors. My doctors, lawyers, CPA, all those people have been with me for 40 years. Next. Be strategic with your database. You've heard that before. Create relationships with builders to handle their spec houses and their contingent buyers. I come from a career of builders. I can tell you they need you. Have a strong online presence. Put out contact. I would say video everywhere. Social media. We hired Pat. He's our in-house videographer. He's doing videos with me every single day. You need to be online. You need to be shamelessly promoting yourself on a regular basis. That's all I have. Hopefully, in a nutshell, this is 1 hour of condensed material. Hopefully you got something out of it.
I want to touch on two things. We have a lot of new construction, and we've been speaking with the builders in the Lakewood Ranch area, which is the market center I happen to be in today, and they are busier than ever. and most of which are due to the hurricane, right? A lot of people want to get off the water. It scared them, even though we didn't get the direct hit, and God bless everyone that unfortunately is going through all that. But we know that some people, as they're aging, they might not want the stress of just the cleanup of the debris after the wind on the water, or the risk of a storm surge. So now they're moving. Lakewood Ranch was pretty much unaffected. My parents live at Lakewood National, and I think they lost power for a little bit, but that's pretty much it. They were out of state, came back, everything went back to normal for them. So these builders cannot typically do the general real estate. And like you said, those contingent buyers that need to sell their home, those are waterfront homes now you can go and sell. So are you in relationship with them? Are you taking the salespeople to lunch or bringing them cookies, or, you know, whatever it is you need to do to get in relationship with them? I know that I had a lot of realtors when I first started. I was not licensed. I was in new construction. All the top people were whining and dining me all the time. And I was like, why are these realtors always coming to take me to lunch and bringing me wine and wanting to do happy hour? And they were trying to get my business.
Yes, huge opportunity. You can work together with national builders and handle the resales. Spec builders need lots. Huge opportunity. I actually could give a seminar on that. I had the second largest new home company in the country. I had 300 employees. We sold 3,000 houses a year, and I can tell you, builders need land and money, and the nationals only need you really for to handle the resales of their buyers. Offering a guaranteed sales program, offering certain things would be very beneficial, but we'll maybe cover that in another session. This was about luxury, but again, luxury is not a price point. It's about an experience. What are you delivering to your clients right now? Each and every one of us needs to up our game during this market, and you're going to gain market share over everybody else.
And a lot of those national builders, believe it or not, Bob, their average price is right around $1 million in the Lakewood Ranch area. So it doesn't seem like it's luxury, but it really is. It's really that top 10%. David, you have a question. I see your hand raised.
Yes, thank you. I was curious, when you show up for these listing presentations with the luxury clients, do you go over a marketing plan with them and like say, here's where we're going to market this to, we're going to put it here, here, and here, or what does that look like?
Absolutely, David. And we send out a lot of our information in a pre-listing package to them prior, so they can review some of our material beforehand, and I'll send some general information. That's a whole nother conversation. What do you send in a pre-listing package or video? But when you meet with them, it's about you, it's about them, and you discover about the property, and then they're eventually going to sit down, you're going to discuss pricing. So absolutely, you better be fully prepared and know every detail of all the competitors, because these people are sharp and they'll detect weakness. So being fully prepared, over prepared, and knowing the area and discussing your personal marketing plan. What are you going to do? How are you going to bring people there? What is your plan is critical. Because if you have the mindset, have the lead gen, set the appointment, you go there and you go, I'm going to put it in the MLS, and then Brandy or I come after you, or Sharon Brandt comes after you, you're not going to get the listing. You need to be very precise on what you're going to be doing, a clear action plan. One more question, and then I need to get into my other group here if I can.
I believe Marisol was next, so that will end with her question. And we really appreciate your time. We know how valuable it is, Bob.
Well, I appreciate you inviting me, and I appreciate everybody's time here. Have you gotten something out of this, everybody?
Definitely, I have.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Great.
Okay, last question.
Thanks, Brandy. Hi, Bob. My question, to me, it's kind of funny because in Orlando, I'm assuming somewhere else as well, I don't typically door knock a luxury community. I like that you said you walk up to the property for an expired. But the reason I haven't tried that, and I've really wanted to, is because a lot of the communities here either they have gates, they have long driveways, it's not easy access maybe to a more suburban or city kind of community where you can walk up and knock on the door. So here it's a little more difficult for me, and I was wondering any advice on I don't want to walk half a mile, quarter mile to go knock on the door and then somebody stops me on the way or the alarm goes off.
Sure. Well, you gotta be sensitive to that. And if they're gated and I would still go up to a gated community and buzz the ringer and try to get in. I would still test it and see how that went, but I don't make excuses for myself. If it was a gated community and I couldn't get in there. I sold a house at Lakewood Ranch 14 years ago. It was about almost $2 million, our house. Somebody could have knocked on my door. I don't have any gates. So there's communities that aren't gated. So if you want to find it, it's out there. So in a gated community, if it's locked or if you're in a condominium building, you got to get creative on how to get in there. But my goal is to I would go to the gated community. Hopefully talk to somebody and tell them I'm here to sell your house. I would have a script prepared based on not being able to see them face to face. That's a disadvantage unless you might be on the video screen. I'd say, I know your last realtor failed. I'm here to sell your house. You have 15 minutes. Some people like that initiative because everybody else is not going to be knocking on the door or going to the gate.
I know you have to run. I will just wrap up with everyone. Thank you so much, Bob. We really appreciate this. Is also, I always learn from you. Even when I speak on a panel with you, I'm busy taking notes. I forget what I'm going to say because there's just so much value. I think you need to write a few books, but we'll talk about that later. We love you. And if you have an HOA that has a non-solicit, a workaround is just inviting them to your open house, but you also have to be hosting that open house once a week, like Bob said.
I'm going to step out. Brandy has the most amazing dog. Never seen a dog watch baseball before. She'll have to tell you that story.
I'll tell him that story.
Number two, Tony Robbins had me go to a seminar to the #1 marketer in the world. The two most important words in business, in my opinion, are these two words: test market. We test market everything we do in the company. And next time Brandy has me on, I will tell you what we do with test marketing. It'll make you millions or it'll cost you millions. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for inviting me, Brandy.
Thanks, Bob.
you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Brandy.
My pleasure. Does anyone have any questions for me before we jump off?
Can we have a recorded version of this presentation?
So Ashley will be sending out the recording, or actually it goes on our North Florida regional YouTube, excuse me. So if you're following that YouTube, it's a private channel for all of these masterminds.
Okay.
All right, I just have a preliminary question for you. So what was the official name of the PowerPoint presentation, if you recall?
Sure. So this was just, how to sell luxury in a shifting market. That was one of the topics that we asked Bob to speak about. I'm also doing a listing consultation class tomorrow. So if anyone wants information on that, I did actually include my email in the chat. If you're in a Keller Williams market center, I'm happy to come teach in your market center. Just being the regional luxury ambassador, the more we can do together, the more we can take market share. So I'm happy to open that up even tomorrow on Zoom if you'd like to get on that. I'll talk a little bit about what Bob was talking about, the pre-listing, what to include in that. He did touch on the language of real estate. Something I mentioned when I was in heavy production, or I now help my agents do, is we did 532 billion in sales last year. That's 2021 stats. And so that's a lot of real estate. And if I'm up against maybe another big brand, and we look at the numbers and compare, it's an exorbitant number in comparison. So if you're not sure where to find these stats, or your team leader needs to get some information to you, I'm happy to work with your leadership or do like a luxury orientation and invite you to my luxury consultation classes. We do also a lot of seminars, like Bob said. We just did an investment seminar. I'm happy to share the recording with some of you. We talk about our staging company. We do have a repair and remodel company. Our repair and remodel company is busier than ever right now. We always send 3 different companies for our sellers to interview. But when I was doing those care calls most recently after the hurricane, even though we didn't get directly hit, we had a lot of, fascia removed, flashing, all kinds of different things, soffits that needed to be fixed, screened pool cages. I have a listing right now that the roof has to be repaired, all the siding on the back of the house needs to be replaced. So they might not use my repair and remodel company, but having a third party separate entity to be able to get to them quickly and at least get them a quote, they're going to be mindful of that. And a lot of those subcontractors that we use are from our vendor list that we formed relationships with over time. And so we do have an expectation for them to send us referrals too, because we're keeping them very busy as subcontractors.
Brandy, did you say that the listing consultation will be on Zoom tomorrow?
Yes. So if you'd like to email me, let me put my email in the chat one more time. I can actually send you the link to that.
Okay, I have it.
Oh, you do? Okay, great. It will be hosted at the KW Suncoast office, which is in Lakewood Ranch. If you are local and you want to come in person, even if you're not with Keller Williams, you're welcome. Our training is open to anyone. We have a rather large training room. I think if it's up to 80 people, Megan would know the exact number. She's the CEO here.
Yes, you nailed it.
Okay, I just want to make sure you keep me on my toes. Here's why you're a great CEO to help run your businesses. Any other questions? All right. Well, I hope everyone has a fabulous day. And again, this will be on our private YouTube channel for those of you in the North Florida region with Keller Williams. And I'll let you know once it's up. Have a great day.
Thanks, Brandy. Bye.
Thank you. You too. This was awesome.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed. We have this every month. So just keep an eye out on your email. I also post it on social media when it will be held. So we have some really great speakers lined up for the rest of the year and preparing you for what we consider our season in Florida if you're here locally. And then of course, 2023, this is a perfect time to call or door knock, right? And get in front of those expired listings. So we'll be masterminding around a lot of this stuff further.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Have a great day.
Bye.